Right, here we are with our review of My Cousin Rachel. My Cousin Rachel, if you haven't seen the trailers, and I don't think many people have, it's a psychological period thriller, a bit like the Hitchcock film Rebecca. The premise is that this young man, fresh out of his education in around the 1840s, his cousin and benefactor, he becomes very ill, he moves off to Florence and dies suddenly. And just at about that time, he remarries.
Ooh.
Yes. And the whole thing is a did they, didn't they
Intrigue.
mystery about whether or not there was a murder. I quite liked this film. I felt it was quite engaging. It really made me feel the same level of paranoia as the main character and the same adolescent, I don't know where I am in the world, I don't know what I'm doing, and emotions are really hard kind of feelings. And I quite appreciated that.
In general, I thought it was really good. It's the kind of thing that I would enjoy to watch on TV with a cup of tea and a cake. In the cinema with a hot dog and a drink, not so much. I don't know why I didn't get the feeling that it deserved to be on the big screen, but it just wasn't the level of drama that I would expect.
Things I liked, I really liked the visual storytelling of the time periods in England. I don't know whether it came from the book that the film was adapted from or if it came from the filmmaker, but they used bluebells and laburnum and lots of other flower cues to tell you what kind of time of year it was. And I thought that was really clever, and it really aided the sense of the passage of time. The cinematography work and the English countryside was all shot beautifully, and again, that feeling of paranoia, dread, mystery, and all those teenage coming-of-age emotions were just perfectly done in my opinion.
I thought that it had a very good sense of place in time and also in country. You got a few scenes from Florence and it felt very Italian and it had a really good feel. I don't know whether it might have been the way it was shot. The lighting was very beautiful. It reminded me a lot of A Room with a View, if you've seen it. And I think it had a really good place in that period of history. It had a lot of things that I associate with that, and it was The other thing I really liked was that it was very English. It had a very English feel. The laburnum, the things from my childhood that felt very set in their place. And what was interesting to me is that Rachel Weisz, she is an actress that is not native English speaker. Like, she's American, I think. And usually when she's in films, I detest her because I find her accent really unbearable and I find her really hammily being English because she regularly plays an English character. But in this, I thought she was the best thing in it. I thought her acting was really solid, her accent was excellent, and she was a truthful character, a truthful representation of the character. I really liked it.
Things I didn't particularly like, there weren't many actually. It was mostly a quite enjoyable film. Structurally, I think it suffers a little bit in adaptation. There was a bit that I felt was building to a climax, but there was then another 20 minutes of the film, which isn't so bad because if it's adapting the book faithfully, that's fine. I've never read the book, so I don't know that. Yeah, that was pretty much my only flaw. I thought it was mostly very well made. Maybe just, some bits were competent rather than brilliant, because I wouldn't really call it a brilliant film. It was good.
Yeah, you were saying earlier you're comparing it to to Mr. Holmes.
Yes, I would compare it to Mr. Holmes, but it doesn't have that gravity. Don't go into it expecting Mr. Holmes. It's just a similar quality of filmmaking.
Perhaps it's because I've got as a woman, I've got a woman's viewpoint. So this character who doesn't hate women, but who's grown up never knowing a woman, not being interested in women, well, what are they? Oh, I have emotions, I don't know how to express them. I really didn't relate to him, and perhaps, with good reason, perhaps in design. But I thought that there were sections of the voiceover, for example, and long, lengthy pieces of text where I thought the male actor really could have done with putting a little bit more work in. I felt like he was trying to impress us with his voiceover work rather than tell me a story, which I thought was lacking. But like Adrian said, the sense of paranoia, the male angst feelings, I thought were really well expressed by him. He had a very good boyish yet manly confusion, which I enjoyed, and his all his aggressive moments seem to have come from a true place, from a real place, rather than a theatrical place, which I thought was really good. My favourite actor in it, though, was the lawyer. Do you know the name of the actor?
I'm afraid I don't. He's been in quite a few other things as he's one of those faces you see frequently but never remember the name of, like Jim Broadbent, who I ironically can remember the name of because he was so famous as that guy you can't remember the name of.
Yeah. He was fantastic in it. I thought he was really, really good. He was only in a few fleeting moments, but he should have been in the whole film because he was fantastic.
Yes. And Jorah Mormont is in it from Game of Thrones. That isn't his actual name, it's just that's all I know of him. He's Game of Thrones guy. He did well too.
Yeah, pretty average. I didn't think he was exceptional. I thought he was okay.
But he's there.
He's there, and he's in Game of Thrones. Would you take anyone to go see it?
Yeah, I'd take people. I think it's a good film for sort of. It's not a blockbuster. It's a sit down and enjoy a story film. And
Yeah.
if you want that kind of film, it's the best one in the cinema at the moment.
Yeah, I recommend going at about 2 p.m. And having it and then going for coffee with your friends. I don't recommend going